3 minutes after 8 o'clock at East Georgia's morning show. And as we promised, Ray Rodriguez, a candidate for sheriff, is here with us this morning. And Ray, I just want to, for people who don't know you, can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yes, good morning. Thank you guys for having me here. It's a pleasure. Basically, I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York City by a single mother. I decided to join the U.S. Army and went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for my basic training in artillery. And I spent about 13 years active duty. And in 2004, I decided to go ahead and separate from the Army with an honorable discharge. And I wanted to start my career in law enforcement. So my ex-wife was from Statesboro, so we moved here at the time. And I started working at the sheriff's office in Bullitt County in 2004, 2005.
Okay. And so you moved down here because this is where your children were, basically.
Absolutely. Graduated from Statesboro High, so, I want to stay close to him. And I love Statesboro. It's just a good community to be in.
Yeah.
So, I decided to stay.
It's a big contrast from New York, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. But, being in the military, I've been to a lot of different places, Fort Stewart, Fort Bragg in Germany, in Oklahoma. I've been around a little bit in different states.
I actually live in Hinesville, so I'm very familiar with Fort Stewart. So
Absolutely.
We probably ate at some of the same restaurants.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about why you decided to run for sheriff.
Well, one of the biggest things is, and you want to stay positive and when you're speaking about why you're doing some things. But basically, yes. I just feel that I can administratively do a better job right now. I think that being fiscally responsible is very important. Is very important. When the commissioners give you a set budget, you want to try and stick with that as much as possible, even though sometimes you may veer off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think fiscal responsibility is very important. Not just say, well, if we have to raise taxes, so be it. There's a lot of in between, so be it, and working, with the commissioners to keep your budget, pretty close.
Yeah, I imagine, in times like we're going through right now, there are surprise expenses that you don't know are coming. But,
right.
Most of the time you ought to be able to plan for, I've got X number of people on staff and here's what they cost. And so,
Absolutely. And come up with a plan with the emergency management, with other agencies. Maybe you can do a rotating schedule where you can combine forces but keep that rotation going so you still kind of stay, within somewhat of the budget. Of course, you can't predict hurricanes, snowstorms,
right,
the coronavirus. You can't predict things like that. I think effective administration talking points with other agencies would help keep the cost at a minimum.
Now, you mentioned that you were you are in the reserves, and
Yes.
funny. It's kind of you're in a field that might come in handy here.
Oh, absolutely. My unit is out of Savannah. I'm in a chemical unit, a CBURN unit. So I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to hazmat, and luckily I have a mask and a hazmat suit in my shed, so I think I'll be okay.
Well, let's hope you don't need that.
I hope not.
Yeah, that you really want to make a splash during public appearances. You wear that full hazmat suit.
Yeah.
You can go out and shake all the hands you want to.
Yeah, I'll be in a full level A suit is what they call it.
Start spraying people with you. Do you carry one of those on the over the shoulder tanks on you to spray stuff
Well,
down?
those are for oxygen there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's just so
you'll
you can
be
breathe, right?
encapsulated with the oxygen.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing some pictures of you. That's out of the movies. Though.
Yeah, I Am Legend. I'm the guy that just stay back. Stay back.
I like it. Yeah. So there is something that I was curious about. You're running as you're the only Democrat running for sheriff, or
Yes.
to run the Democratic Party. So what does that mean to you, being the only one from your party in this run in this election?
I think that looking at the long haul, when I initially started, I was running on the independent ticket because I really felt that the position of sheriff should be nonpartisan. I think a sheriff should be really, for everyone, not a particular party. But, in Georgia, it really ranks one of the lowest states for an independent candidate to be able to come on the ballot. So, when you start aligning yourself with different views and strategic stuff, when you have to listen to your campaign managers and your people that's been doing this, that know what they're doing, you kind of have to go with what they say. So we decided to go on a Democratic ticket, and that'll push us all the way to the election in November. And it gives us a little bit more time to get people to know me, get to know the platform, get to know what I really stand for, and of course now they're, with the coronavirus, you can't have meet and greets, and you're not going to go knocking on people's doors. Even though I could knock on their door with a hazmat suit,
that might get a worse reception than you think.
Right? You want to abide by what the CDC is saying right now. You want to kind of stay away, but we'll have events in the short future. Hopefully, this thing we can control it, and
it's something I compare. You've got retail politics and you've got wholesale politics, and the retail is the door to door meet and greet, one person, one on one and all that, and then the wholesale is kind of what you're doing here today, where you're reaching a bunch of people at once, and the retail part of it's kind of gotten difficult.
Oh, absolutely, and that door to door, that shaking that hand, looking at that person in the eye, knowing like, look, this is what I'm about. Now you're gonna have to kind of shift gears, do things like this today on your show.
Yeah.
Social media stuff. Maybe do a video on your social media and keep the movement going until November.
Yeah, because I think it's important that people actually know the man, not just the policies, not just what they can read, but it's important that they get to know the person behind the policies, and that's more difficult in today's environment.
Absolutely.
And if you want to get to know the man behind the mask, you have a really cool website that has a surprising amount of information about you, a lot more than I've seen from like previous candidates just in elections. So you're not, you're very open about your background, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. When my campaign manager, Jim Ratcliffe, and I decided to sit down, we wanted to go ahead and give a website that pretty much shows everything, except my birth certificate. But I got a lot of things in there.
Social security number.
Right, things like that will be blacked out. But I wanted to be transparent. All my military documents, awards, certificates, all my law enforcement stuff is there. Click on all the tabs. Go to rayray2020.com. That's REY2020.com, and just click away.
Now, just to clarify, just in case someone was thinking that 2020 is just the numbers, right? It's not spelled out 2020?
Yes, it's the number 2020, 2020. So REY2020.com.
I'm sure that question passed at least through one person's mind other than mine, so I had to ask.
You're probably right. You're probably right. Well, it's 11 minutes after 8 o'clock, and we'll be back with Ray Rodriguez in just a few minutes. You're listening to East Georgia's Morning Show.
It is 8:27 here on the East Georgia Morning Show. I am Travis Bilger, joined by Brian Steele.
Hope you're having a good morning.
And we have a very special guest today. It is Ray Rodriguez. He is running for sheriff here in Bullitt County. And he is also the only Democratic candidate running for sheriff. Although in the last break, I had you explain what it meant to be the only Democratic candidate. So that was an interesting one. So you were really set on not running as an independent because Georgia doesn't tend to support independents that well.
Well, it was just a very hard task. You had to get 1,742 signatures just to be on the ballot. So, and also you had to turn them in, and they had to be notarized. And the people that would evaluate the signatures had to make sure that the spelling, the address, the date of birth, everything matched. And then another thing, in today's day and age with identity theft.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine, I come up to you and say, hey, I need your signature, your name, your address, and your birthday, and people just kind of look at you a little bit weird.
Yeah, that would not happen. A lot of people just would not do that.
Yeah,
right.
no.
It's just something hard to do. I wish they would change it to maybe, your driver's license number instead of your, something different, instead of giving all that personal information to somebody that you don't know.
Yeah. That makes sense. Hey, maybe if you win, you can change that yourself,
Hopefully, yes.
Now, something that we talked about a little bit off the mic, and something that has really been ringing true for me is, you said one of the reasons you're running for sheriff is because you see the opportunity for you to do things better. And you told me off the mic a little bit about a situation that happened in Portal, I believe you said, with kidnapping. And
it was a missing person, and I promised the family that I would try to get this word out, and it's very important for people to know that Eric Waters has been missing since December. There's also some possible connection to things that happen in different neighboring counties, and the family requested the GBI. So I just think that, as a sheriff, if I was in his shoes right now, and my investigators kind of hit a wall, not necessarily saying that they did anything wrong or they're not moving anything forward, because I don't know, I'm not working there anymore, but if they're stagnant with the investigation and the family is requesting that, hey, thank you for everything that you've done, but I'm requesting the GBI, I think as a sheriff, I would say, yes, I will call the GBI and then assist them, in the investigation. Now, the state agency has more money, has better funds. They have helicopters and, all
More
kind of
resources.
They have more resources and
Yes.
assets and time. With what's going on, you have to still patrol, respond to calls, maintain the jail, maintain the court system. If it's not like pushing it away. If you have somebody that can assist you, then I would be for that, for the GBI to come in and take over the case, and maybe they can, have a breakthrough, have some fresh eyes look at this case.
Well, especially if there are other counties involved, they can cross those county lines and investigate
Absolutely.
more deeply.
Now,
Absolutely.
you kept saying, what is GBI?
That's the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So
Okay.
there is a state agency that conducts criminal investigations, throughout the state of Georgia.
That's just, I know law enforcement, military, they all love acronyms, so it's important
Oh,
for
absolutely.
me to get them.
My mind is sometimes goes crazy because with police jargon and army jargon
Yeah.
and acronyms, I'm
You probably
all
have
over the
a
place.
ton of acronyms in your head.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a joke in a military community that the Army runs on TLAs, which is a 3-letter acronym for 3-letter acronyms.
Right. Absolutely.
So we were talking again off mic. A lot of people don't understand the responsibilities of the sheriff's office. It's not just running a police department.
Oh, absolutely. The responsibility is very, very big. Back to being fiscally responsible. So the commissioners give the county, the sheriff's office funds, and they keep a budget. But what a lot of people don't understand is like the sheriff's office, maybe right now is at 51 or 52% of the entire budget for the county.
Wow.
So if I go over budget, then I'm affecting, the county EMS. I'm affecting Bullitt County Recreation. I'm affecting all these other agencies that receive funding from the commissioners to have them run whatever department they're running. So it's very important that when I'm the sheriff, I maintain that budget as much as possible, because it's not only affecting, my agency, the commissioners, but
Right.
also other agencies that, like the Board of Education. So like everything is all teamwork. So you don't want to take from the pot and not put anything back.
Yeah,
And
because there's only a fixed amount of tax money that's going to come into the county coffers. So
Absolutely.
if you take more than your share, then that means something else is going to get the short end of the stick.
And like Mr. Couch says yesterday, they took $100,000 and put it aside just for the COVID-19 stuff.
Right.
So if they didn't have that money, if I went over budget on other things that now they don't have that money
Yeah,
to
then
put
they
in.
lack-
Absolutely. So you want to keep those funds and the budget as close as you can to what the commissioners gave you, because it for disasters or anything that's unprecedented happens, then you have funds to combat it.
Contingencies.
Absolutely.
Now, something that's, this is a question that I do want to ask you is, what would you say to people, my age group, my generation, why should we care about the sheriff's office?
Oh man, this year in what a lot of people your age needs to understand. So the sheriff's office is, the election is coming up for that. We have 3 candidates right now. The DA's office is going to change. Mr. Mallard decided to retire, so there's going to be a change there. State court judge just got appointed by the governor. Mr. Kushner took that position. So now the solicitor's office is open. You have a couple of candidates there. The coroner. So everything in the criminal justice system and the processes within the Ogeechee Circuit and Bullitt County are on the line. Do you want people that view things this way or that way? So your generation needs to be involved. Go to people's websites, look at what they're about, go to events, meet them, shake their hand, get to know that person.
Well, maybe tap their elbows.
Well, yeah, now.
Yeah,
Fist bump, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes.
a fist bump or elbow bump,
Yeah.
but you got to get knowledge. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the more informed you are, the better choice you'll make in your election.
Now, you talked about websites. You have a website.
Yes, absolutely. It's rayray2020.com. And like I said earlier, it's rey2020.com. Go on there. There's a bunch of tabs. It's got a lot of documents. It's got my law enforcement career. I was Deputy of the Year twice in Georgia by the Sheriff's Association.
Wow.
I got a commendation, from the commissioners, a proclamation. I think the only one in Bullitt County history as a peace officer to get that. So there's a lot of information there, and I just want people to be able to look at it and understand, why I think that this is so important for me to do this. I feel like this is really, is an honor, but it's also, I'm really motivated to make a change.
Well, there you go. You can find out more on your website. It is Ray 2020. That's REY number 2020.
Yes.
Just to clarify for all
Yes.
those people out there. It is 8:35 here on the East Georgia Morning Show. We are here with Ray Rodriguez. He is running for sheriff of Bullitt County. We'll be right back after this.